Okay guys, so in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to build this simple scroll effect with Framer Motion and React.js. As we scroll down the page, you see the title scrolls to the left, and as we scroll back up, it reverts back to its original position. This is actually really easy to achieve with a couple of lines of code, so let's jump straight into it. Okay, so to begin with, I've just started off with a default React application using Create React App. I've added a fonts folder to the source folder, and I've added an image folder to the public folder. These will be resourced in the readme.md. I've also deleted the app.css file because we don't really need it. Within the index.css file, I'm just going to add the fonts that I've just imported. And I'm just going to define them in the root. And then what I want to do is I just want to add these fonts to the body and a default font size of 1 view width. This means that the font is going to be able to scale full width. So we now want to install two packages. I'm going to use yarn, so I'm going to do yarn add Framer Motion. And I'm also going to add styled components because that's what I'm going to be using as the CSS package. Okay, now that these are installed, I want to create a style.js file in the root. Let me just create that again. Style.js. And within this file, I'm going to do import styled from styled components. And all our styling is going to go within this file. So let's go back to the app.js file and let's remove everything within this div for now. I'm going to remove the app.css and the logo because we don't have it anymore. And I'm also going to change this to an arrow function because I'm just used to using arrow functions and this looks a bit strange to me. Okay, so I'm now going to import the style sheet. So I'm just going to create a header for now. And of course we need to create this header. So let's go to style.js and let's just do export const header equals styled.div. And let's just do a height of 100 VH. And for now, let's just do a background red. Just so we can make sure that everything is importing correctly. And I'm just going to call this within here. So let's just do header. I'm going to save that. And then in my terminal, I'm going to do yarn start. This is going to start a local development server. And I've already got it running on a port, so I'm just going to open it up in another port. And as you can see, we've got the red background. So this is coming through from our style file. Okay, so we're now just going to build out the structure of the page. So I'm just going to expand this header component so that we can work inside of it. I'm then going to add a background image, and I want to take the third element of the array and set it as the background image. I'm then going to set up a navigation and a just default paragraph. I then want to add our title that we're going to be using as the animation. I'm then just going to add two sections underneath with some default paragraph. And I'm also going to add some images to the page as well. So I'm just going to import these at the top, and then we're going to head over to the style file and create these components. Okay, so to begin with, I just want to remove the background red from the div. I then want to add some position relative and overflow hidden. This is going to mean that anything that goes outside of the div is not going to be visible, and there's not going to be any scroll bar within the header. I'm then going to do a background image style.image. If you notice, we're adding styled to the front of the tag, basically the HTML tag. This is just the way the style components works. I'm then going to do a height of 100% and a width of 100%. I'm going to set the object fit to cover so that the image is going to span across the whole div, and I'm going to position it absolute. And then I want to create the title. So the title is what's going to appear at the bottom of the page. I'm calling this slightly differently. I'm using styled, and then I'm just opening up the brackets and I'm using motion.h1. This is because we're using framer.motion functionality on this h1. I'm then going to just import the font family. I'm just going to set it as a font size as 20 EM. So this is going to scale because we've got a 1 view width on the body. And then I'm going to do white space no wrap so that the text doesn't break into multiple lines. And then I'm just going to add a transition onto it. And then I'm going to create a default navigation at the top. This is just obviously placeholder, and I just put a color hover green on the anchor links just so we can see that it actually functions. I'm then going to add a paragraph with some max width. This is going to go throughout the 3 sections. Then I'm going to give the image a width of 25 EMs, and obviously I'm going to do the sections as well, so where the images and the paragraphs sit. I'm going to give these a height of 80 view height. That was a mouthful. So that we've got some scroll to play with, and I'm going to save this. I'm going to save the app, and let's open up the application to see if it's all running correctly. Okay, amazing. Okay, so we now want to import the Framer Motion hooks that we're going to be using. I'm going to just be using use scroll and use transform in this example. And I now want to use the use scroll hook. So I'm just going to do const, and then I'm going to destructure it. So I'm going to do scroll y progress equals scroll equals use scroll, sorry. So basically this is a property returned to us from use scroll, and it gives us the progress of the y position on the y axis. And then I just want to do const x, because we're just going to be animating the header on the x-axis, equals use transform. And use transform takes 3 arguments. Well, it does take 4. It takes an ease as the 4th property, but we don't actually want to use that. And I'm just going to pass it through the scroll y progress to begin with. And then I want to set 2 arrays. So these are just going to be arrays that have 2 sets of values in this instance. And the first one I'm going to do 0 and 1. And it's basically going to say when scroll progress goes from 0, when it starts at 0, the x-axis of whatever component we're going to be using is going to be at 0. And then when it gets to 1, we want it to be minus, let's just say 600, okay? I'm then going to just take this x, and on title, I want to do style, and then I just want to open up 2 curly braces and do x. Obviously this is the same as doing x, because x, so if you named this something else, like x1, we could just do x1, but in this situation I'm just going to do x. I'm going to save this, and I'm going to go back to our document. I'm just going to scroll with using the scroll bar so it's easy to see. As you see, we're scrolling down, and when we reach the 1 position, so this is 0 and down here is 1, the text is obviously moving across the screen from the 0 to minus 600 pixels. And just to illustrate this again, I just want to go to look at the H1 element, and as we scroll we can see the pixels moving. And if I scroll this bar all the way down to the bottom, we'll see that it's minus 600 pixels. So this is really cool effect, and it's really simple to achieve. And I'm just going to show you some, if I just change this minus to standard 600, it'll go the other way. And as you can see, there's a little bit of a lag, and this is because we've got the transition on the element. So obviously I can change this to ease in out. And let's scroll down now. So yeah, this is just a quick tutorial just to show you how simple it is to use this effect. I see this effect used everywhere in common interactive web designs these days. And yeah, it doesn't have to be overly complicated. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to be creating more Framer Motion videos soon.